Good morning, everybody. Well, we're back again. Our second comeback. And our apologies to all of our regular listeners. Last time we were back a few weeks ago, we thought we were back for good, but we weren't. And we've got some. Not only do we have my illness to deal with, but Nancy's had a couple of issues too. It comes with the territory. It comes with being in our 80s, but we're dealing with it, and we're feeling pretty good this morning. And we hope you're still with us. I wouldn't blame you if you didn't leave us, but just for some new folks, this is a car all about this is a car. This is a show all about how to buy a car without being ripped off by a car dealer. And we've been doing this for about 20 years. If you are new, stick around a little bit. I think you'll want to come back every Saturday. And we are on every Saturday from 8 to 10. We're a live show, a live talk show, which is kind of an exciting thing, really. I mean, you don't know what you're going to say, and you don't know what we're going to say. We're very candid on this show. I don't think we get bleeped very much, but we ask people to speak their mind, and we rely on you, our listeners. We've got a bunch of regular cadre out there of regular listeners that we can talk to almost every week, and we gather more and more regular listeners. It's an exchange more than a talk show because we hear your views and your suggestions, your criticisms, and your compliments. We get a few of those too. So thank you very, very much. You're going to hear us giving out a telephone number a whole lot, and I'll give it out for the first time right now, and that number is 877-960-9960. That's 877-960-9960. Write it down. You might not be able to talk to us or call us or listen to us right now, but you might, before 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're on from now until 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're all over the country. In fact, we're all over the world. We stream the show, too. And I keep referring to this as a radio show. It's really a TV show in the old sense because we have streaming. And you can stream us at facebook.com/Earl on Cars or YouTube. That's our biggest source of video, youtube.com/Earl on Cars. And by the way, Earl on Cars is our website, and virtually everything that we cover is covered even more completely and in more detail on our website, earloncars.com. We also archive our shows, so you can listen to this show again or on a show we did 5 years ago or 10 years ago, based on subject or time, however you want to do it. And you can also volunteer for things like being one of Earl's vigilantes. We call them Earl's vigilantes because we ask people around the country who are very knowledgeable about cars and retail and about buying a car from a car dealer, which, believe me, you need a PhD to do that safely. And we have some people out there with PhDs, I guarantee you, especially on YouTube. And if you can volunteer to be a vigilante, others around the country can go to our website, go to Earl Vigilantes on our website, find somebody in that area that maybe knows the local market pretty well, and he's a vigilante, meaning he has been qualified by us and he believes in himself or herself to be able to give you advice on how not to be ripped off by a car dealer. So that's what the show's all about. I've got Rick Kearney in the studio with me. My son Stu, I'm not sure if he's on the way or not, but I asked him if he would be coming to the show. And of course, Nancy Stewart, who is not only my wife, but she's my partner, and she's a co-founder of this show going back about 2 decades, if you can believe that. We started out about 20 years ago, a half-hour show, and now we're up to a 2-hour show, and we still don't get it covered. We run out of time, and I guess the last thing I'm going to have to mention is our mystery shopping report, because it's a highlight of the show. We go into a car dealership somewhere in the United States, and we pretend to buy or lease a car. We have an undercover agent, code name Agent Lightning, and she goes in and goes through all the buying or leasing steps, and she reports back her exact experience with the salesperson, the manager, whomever in the dealership she speaks with, and her treatment. Was she treated with transparency, honesty, or otherwise? And then we repeat the event. We repeat the mystery shop. Here comes Stu Stewart. So we are fully manned and womaned this morning. So if the dealer did a good job, we give them a good grade. And we'll ask you at the end of the show, that'll be the last half hour, we ask you to vote on our mystery shopping report. So we've covered pretty much what the show's all about. Again, please excuse us. I know a lot of you tuned in, and we got another Earl Stewart on Cars rerun, and that's just not fair. But, we don't know, Nancy and I don't know, about the doctor thing. And, we're both we go into tests, we're going to the hospitals, we're going to the doctors. And any of you about our age know how unpredictable that is. So sometimes we think we're going to be back, but no, we got to do something else, and we don't get back. But I think we're back for good now. I really think with Nancy's health and my health, I think we're really going to be back for good. I sure hope so, because we love it. We love it more than you do. We love it. Now I'm going to turn the microphone on to Nancy Stewart, and she will give you her view from a female standpoint. That's her main stock and trade. She has built this audience that we have accumulated over the years to 50-50. Half female, half male. That's the way life should be with everything. It should be half female and half male, and that's what Nancy has done. 20 years ago, this was an all-boys school, and the only people that ever called or texted or came on the show were, guys. And we didn't like that, so she's cured that. She'll tell you about a special offer she has to you ladies out there. Nancy, the mic is all yours.
Good morning, everyone. Wow, we're glad to be back in the studio, and as I always say, you make the show. So give us a call toll-free at 877-960-9960, and you can also take advantage of our text number, and that number is 772-497-6530. And don't forget your anonymous feedback. We just love your anonymous feedback. And we'd love to hear from you and your thoughts, and you remain anonymous. We have the mystery shopping report. It's a mystery shopping report from Fort Lauderdale. It's a Homan Honda. We also have the dog of the week, Paco, and you'll hear more about Paco later on in the show. And folks, we have some good news this morning. So it isn't all doom and gloom. But one of the things I came across that everyone would be interested in is a Gallup poll. And it was interesting for me to find that auto mechanics, boy, they're at the top of the list. Things have changed for them. And there are more consumers who believe in the mechanic. And as you all know, that's Rick's forte. So at any rate, let me give you some numbers. In the 2024 survey, 33% of Americans rated the honesty and ethical standards of auto mechanics as high. Isn't that great news? I know how doubtful everyone was and is, and how you search for that, talented, perfect, honest mechanic. And there you go. I mean, it is just great news. And it's an improvement. It's 24% during the 2000s, and it indicates growing trust. And the survey found recently 33% of Americans rated for ethical and honesty. The mechanic came up pretty high. So that's great news, and I know Rick enjoyed that information. And again, our number is 877-960-9960. Ladies, $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. And also attached to that, you could also win a subscription to Consumer Report. And you would receive the 2025 Auto Edition if you qualify. Okay, we're going to go right to the phones, and we're going to talk to our first-time caller, and she is from Coconut Creek. I believe her name is Ivan. Did I get that right?
Not really.
I botched it.
Evan. But you were close. Evan with an E.
Oh, Evan. Okay, well, Evan,
Yeah, perfect.
welcome. And you won yourself
Good morning.
$50 this morning as being
Cool.
a first-time caller. And if you will leave your information with Jeremy in the control room, he'll pass that along to me, and I'll get that check out to you. Also, Evan, you also won a subscription to Consumer Report, and I'm not sure you're a first-time caller, whether you know that this is a Bible for Earl and I, for all of us here. We refer to it quite a bit. So you win a subscription for the Consumer Report, and like I said, included in that will be the 2025 Auto Edition. So there you go.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
That's wonderful. I don't have to have my brother's anymore. I'll have my own. Well,
Sweet.
thank you very much.
What can we do for
So
you?
good news about the mechanics. Really good news.
Isn't
I
it?
think I found one that I really like. And my question today is pretty much, I was up at your dealership a couple of weeks ago with Deck, and they bought a car, and it was a good experience. But I think today I'm going to get a Subaru from Schumacher. And I just wanted to know what's better, buying or leasing?
Good question.
Yeah.
It's the easy answer is they're equal to you. If you fully understand the purchase and you fully understand the lease, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Some of it might depend on your tax situation, but it's really almost equal. And the reason I say almost equal is that dealers, on the average, make a lot more when they lease the car, and that means you pay more. But that's
Okay.
only the people who don't understand the lease, and the lease is more complicated and for the consumer to comprehend, and they can sneak in hidden charges and adjust the terms
Right.
without you being aware of it. So buying a car is far simpler, and you're
It's
less
very
likely-
linear. It's like
Yeah.
you can line it up and go
Exactly.
price and tax and
But one exception is there are tax credits out now, especially on electric vehicles, and if you're going to be an electric vehicle driver, you're better off to look at a lease in general, depending on the vehicle you pick out. But the lease would have a distinct advantage to you if you were buying an electric vehicle of a certain year, make, and model.
Okay, great. Not going to be electric at this point.
Okay.
But that's good to know.
Evan, let me ask you this. How much do you would you drive the vehicle that you were thinking about purchasing or leasing?
I don't commute, so it's more of a pleasure errands type thing.
Okay.
So
Mo-
maybe a few miles a week,
ah,
actually.
and then electric would be perfect
that
for
makes,
you.
that makes a
it would
difference.
be if
Yeah.
Because
My complex
mileage
has someplace
limits
to
are
charge
in a
it.
lease. You know,
But if you were driving an electric right now, you would be done with fuel. You have no reason to worry about the range of the vehicle or charging on a trip. You just plug it in at your home every night, and you don't have to have an expensive adapter even. And it'll be fully charged. If you're only going a few miles a week, you'll be silent, good for the environment, and you might be able to get a really low payment if it qualifies for those credits.
all
Yeah.
good advice.
yeah.
I'll definitely take that into consideration. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the call, Yvonne.
Thanks, Evan. Remember to
My
spread the
pleasure.
word. We're building a platform here for the ladies. Have a great weekend.
Will do.
Our number here is 877-960-9960, and you can also text us at 772-497-6530. We're going to go with Joe, and he's calling us from Pompano Beach. Good morning, Joe.
Morning. Hope you guys are feeling better.
We are.
Great. I had a question. When you buy a new car, the manufacturer's suggested retail price, is that a fair price to pay for a car, or? I
Not
know
usually. Not now. I mean, it depends on the car. An extremely rare vehicle, even now, MSRP would be fair, considering a lot of dealers would try and get more than that. But generally now, it's a pretty competitive environment right now. And for any vehicle, of any volume, any popular car, you shouldn't be paying MSRP.
The best thing, Joe, about the MSRP is it gives you a fixed point to measure and compare prices. When you decide on the vehicle you want, be sure that you know the MSRP. So if you're looking at a Honda Accord, for example, and you live in Pompano, you might want to go down to Fort Lauderdale, check a price there, maybe come up to southern Palm Beach County and check a price there. But when you're comparing prices, you'll be comparing the discount from the MSRP of the exact vehicle you want. When the manufacturer's suggested retail price became mandatory by law in 1958, the reason they formed the manufacturer's suggested retail is because car dealers could put any price they want. One Honda dealer could decide back in those days to charge $5,000 over for the price, and another dealer $10,000 over, and there was no way for the consumer to know, did I really get a discount? Now you measure everything with the MSRP that the manufacturer established, and the dealer is supposed to have that Monroney label remain attached to the car when they buy it. In South Florida, we found that doesn't happen. So my first advice to you when you're shopping around for your Honda, look at the actual MSRP Monroney label for that car. Chances are you'll have to ask for it because the dealers down here put them in the trunk, they throw them away, they put them in the glove compartment. The federal law says they must remain affixed to the window of the car until the car is sold, and only the buyer of the car can remove the Monroney label. But down in South Florida, Pompano, you'll probably find there won't be a Monroney label on the car. Ask for it.
Okay, and then if the car is being delivered to the dealer, does that make a difference on there, or how can you tell if it's really coming from the manufacturer or the place or another dealer that it's being delivered?
You can look at the Monroney label, and it is you could go online to get a format profile of what the Monroney label looks like. You're right in being concerned because the car dealers make up a Monroney label, a counterfeit Monroney label. And on the show, we've called it the phony Monroney because it looks very similar to the Monroney label that should be there. Same color, same font, same everything, shape. But if you look at the fine print, you'll find that it isn't truly a Monroney label. But yeah, it should be adhered to the window of the car, and if it's not, you can write. And if they give you a hard time, a quick call to the Department of Motor Vehicles in Florida could cost that dealer a huge fine, even revoke his license if he's deliberately taking the Monroney label off and lying to the customers about the actual Monroney label. Stu?
You can also see on the Monroney label the original dealer that it was shipped to.
Yes.
So you can see it's got their name and address on it. So you can see if it's moved around from dealers. Like if you're shopping in South Florida and you see there's a North Carolina destination on it, that was dealer traded, maybe driven, maybe transported, and there's other things you might want to look out in the car there because it didn't get it's been moved around a little bit.
It's a fresh car if it has that dealer's name on it, and about half the cars sold in this area especially are transferred from another dealer to another dealer. So the car's been driven and swapped back and forth sometimes 4 or 5 times. You're better off to get a fresh one that was shipped directly from Honda to that Honda dealer.
Great. That's great information. Thank you. And then the last thing, I guess because I'm in Pompano, but JM Lexus, do you know if they're a reputable dealer or
Extremely.
can I look up?
Very
They're,
good.
they're the largest Lexus dealer in the world. They are the most reputable. They're owned by the Jim Moran Foundation or family.
Yeah.
He's the original distributor for Toyota in the southeast United States. So they're a big target. Everybody knows JM Lexus, and they behave themselves quite well. I couldn't recommend any other Lexus dealer more than JM Lexus.
That's where we've bought our Lexuses because it was the easiest.
Yes.
Oh, great. Because then they say the window sticker. So the window sticker that they put, I think I see it online. Is that the Maroney label, or is that supposed to be what that is? Or
It wouldn't be the Maroney label on the JM Lexus, I'm sure. They would not have. Now, they might have some addendums on top of the Maroney label, but I assure you JM Lexus would keep the original Maroney label on their windows.
I don't believe JM Lexus doesn't do addendums. They don't add anything to it. They have a very small dealer fee, right?
About $500. Something.
And there's no other junk fees in there, so it's really simple to figure out the price. There's not a lot of tricks in there at all. Actually,
Yeah.
So it's very straightforward.
okay, so then you would, when you figure out if you're looking at the price that they're putting, I don't know if the MSRP, and then you would add the tax on that, and that's probably how much? Or
Yeah, the
how
only
much-
thing that you should pay is if you calculate it's 6% sales tax, 7%, but it's only on the first 5,000. So it's you calculate the local sales tax, and then the only other charge should be if you're transferring your old tag, it should be a relatively modest, couple $100 transfer fee, and if you need a new tag, it might be $300 or $400. But you really shouldn't pay anything other than that. You're not required to pay anything other than that.
Okay, so let's say you bought a new one for like 50. It says 50-some thousand, and you just add the tax.
Yes. That would be the out-the-door price.
Yeah, it'd be 3,000 something and change, and then add another few $100 for your tag, and that's it.
Yeah, well, JM Lexus does have a small dealer fee.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
as you
yeah.
just said. So
Yeah, they'll have that,
There'll
but-
probably be another $500. I've never understood, by the way. I mean, I hate to be critical of a dealer that is so reputable and good, but I've talked to the general manager at JM Lexus. I say, look, you advertise no dealer fees, but you have a dealer fee. I said, you are impeccable in all other remain. Why don't you become perfect and not have that dealer fee? So I don't know what they think. I think the average Lexus probably sells for $70,000 or $80,000, and they're saying, what difference does another $500 make? But to me, it makes a little bit of difference. If I were a buyer,
On principle.
I'd want to be totally clean, not almost clean. But because there's nobody even close to JM Lexus, we still highly recommend them.
Okay, that's great information. I appreciate all the information you gave.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Joe. Give us a call again. Have a great weekend. Our number here is 877-960-9960. You can also text us at 772-497-6530. When we opened the show, I talked about the Gallup annual honesty and ethics report, and I was mentioning mechanics and how high their rating is now for honesty, transparency, and that's just really great news. But the other news was that car salespeople, they didn't fare as well. Car salespeople consistently receive lower honesty and ethics ratings. So keep that all in mind, and there's nothing like an educated consumer. You can beat all the odds, and you can get yourself a great deal by being an educated consumer. We're going to go to Alexandra, and she is a first-time caller from West Palm Beach. Good morning. Welcome. What can we do for you?
Oh, hello.
Good morning, Alexandra.
Oh, good morning.
Welcome to Earl Stewart on Cars. What,
Yes,
you've just
I'm
won
very
yourself
impressed by
$50
this.
this morning by being our second new female caller. And you also won yourself a subscription to Consumer Report, and that will come with the 2025 Auto Edition. So that should help you out in any.
That's very exciting because I am in the mood for a new car.
This will help you out tremendously.
Oh, fantastic! But I
Leave
had to
your
just-
leave your information with Jeremy in our control room. He'll pass it along to me, and I'll take care of all that this morning.
oh, how kind of you. Well,
What can we
listen,
do for you?
Yeah, I had a question. I mean, I'm so impressed by all your knowledge. This may not be very, very important to you, but I've been a member of AAA for many, many years.
Oh, good for you.
And unfortunately, the last battery that they sold me was a dud. But also, when they finally came, charged me $100 because I'd been having to call them so often because it was dead. It died all the time. Then they said, "Oh, it's not. This is not under warranty." And I said, "What? You know, I wouldn't have bought a battery if it was not under warranty." Oh, there was no gasket or something around it when I installed it. Well, I said, "Well, why didn't you tell me? If you had told me that, I would have gotten a gasket or had someone put in a gasket before I do a battery." If only
Rick
somebody
is
had told
wrinkling
me.
his brow. Something's not right here.
By gasket, I'm thinking that they're trying to convince her
That rubber thing that
that
sits on.
Well, no, she needs the little felt pad
Oh.
that goes on the battery terminal before you put the cable connector on it, and that's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard of. That would void a warranty.
Yeah, you could make that with the lint in your pocket.
Yeah, it's that little felt pad actually will do nothing for the battery unless the case or the terminal is actually cracked and is starting to leak acid. That felt pad is supposed to catch that acid so it doesn't drip all over the place. And
Saying that-
that's
yeah. He
that's
explained that
ridiculous.
The battery would be jumping up all around, and it was my fault. And I said, "Sir, I don't know anything about batteries.
Well,
That is what you
reported
are
it to
here."
The
AAA.
battery is warranted by the battery manufacturer. Are you talking about your conversations with the person you bought the car from, or the battery
the battery.
manufacturer?
It's a AAA service.
Oh, AAA. Well, they're misinformed. Battery. What make battery is it?
I can take a look.
Yeah, the battery manufacturer issues the warranty, right, Rick?
Well, yeah, they do, but if it's AAA, they put their own
Yeah.
stickers on the battery.
Oh, okay.
It says all AAA all over it. And the other big scam that AAA will do, the
boy.
tow truck drivers that come out,
Yeah.
they tell you need a new connector, a new terminal connector for your cable, because this one's old and ratty looking.
Well, let's differentiate between the guy that comes out and AAA.
Yeah, can I? Is it's not? I thought that AAA contracted local, companies.
They do, yeah.
But they have AAA on their truck or on their batteries.
They bring out batteries that are actually labeled AAA,
Oh, I didn't know that.
and they even have the AAA logo
Yeah,
on
I
their
think,
tow trucks.
My advice is to go directly to AAA and not the people that looked at the battery
Yeah.
and made that bad judgment. You need to call AAA directly, high as you can, because AAA is a good organization and they're honest. And if you can get a hold of somebody, not the guy that looked at it, but the guy that made that decision, and go to
I already called to make a complaint, but I don't think that'll get me anywhere.
yeah.
So I think I have to go maybe just to one of the regional offices
Yes, exactly.
and talk to someone there.
Exactly. But
Well,
the warranty, as Rick said, should not be affected, and the warranty is from the manufacturer. If you've got, what make battery did you say you had?
She had
I
a
didn't-
check. I don't think it
I had
matters.
to check, and I had to. I had it also. I went to Amco or one of those places to check the battery, and he too said it's a very bad battery. So it could not be recharged fully.
Yeah, unfortunately, the batteries that AAA gets are usually some of the lowest quality. My own personal recommendation, if you need a battery, you want to either go to a shop or get your car over to AutoZone or one of the O'Reilly's, one of the other auto parts stores, and tell them you want an Interstate battery. Interstate makes some of the best quality, and the auto parts stores, 9 times out of 10, they'll bring it out and install it for you even.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much for all this information, because I felt so stupid. Well, they make you feel stupid. And I don't appreciate that, because I really was ready to stop my being with AAA, because after all these years of service, I thought that they could have helped me out a bit better.
Absolutely. Alexander, you sound like an educated consumer, and we appreciate your call. And please spread the word to your friends that we are building a female audience here on Earl on Cars. And remember to stay on the line and give Jeremy your information so that I can, get in contact with you.
I really thank you for the service, because often, as ladies, we aren't really educated as well as the men are. And I don't know why, because we should be. And I really appreciate this program.
Yes. Well, that statement you just made is really changing rapidly.
Yes.
But we need to have it change a little
word.
quicker.
Yeah. Yep. Spread the word.
Thank you. 877-960-9960. Or you can text us at 772-497-6530. And Rick has a comment.
Yeah, just as a quick note here, Donovan, I mean, everybody, we talk about Donovan so
he's
much.
Phenomenal.
Even he says AAA uses their own branded batteries, so technically they would be the manufacturer in this case, because they are the...
That's what I've been trying to say.
Yeah.
Their name in.
Yeah, great information,
But
Rick.
it simply means that AAA would be the ones that would have to get the warranty through.
Okay. Let's keep that in mind. We are going to go to the Roadrunner, who has been patiently holding. Good morning. Good morning, Steve.
Oh, good morning, everybody. This is a question for Dr. Rick.
Okay.
Doc Rick.
I was driving my Roadrunner last Sunday morning. All of a sudden, the car died and started up again. So I said, time to get it back home.
Was there any
Driving
coyotes
back
around?
home, I'm driving it back home. The car died completely. Luckily, I was able to pull it onto the side. Opened up the hood. Everything was good. Get back in the car. The car started right up again, running normal. What do you think? Electrical?
Coyote left.
What do you run for an ignition system on that?
Electronic ignition.
I would be checking the ground wires to it first, and make sure you got good connection for your ground wires, that you don't have a loose ground possibly. And if not, then I'd be suspecting the buzz box, which
Okay. That
for those that don't know,
on the side that was put on the side of the car, that little square one. Okay,
Yep.
so the grounded wire. Look for the grounded wire on that box.
yes, that's one of the first things that I look for. Anytime I hear of an intermittent problem, I start wiggling ground wires, because what'll happen is the screw or the bolt may loosen just a little bit, or maybe the
Right.
wire's starting to break, and
Right.
you get that little wiggle, and that can be enough that it throws enough resistance that it'll shut the thing off.
Okay, well, the module is like, I put in the regular Chrysler electronic ignition. Then the module went, and we put in a different one. It probably was a cheaper brand or something. But with that...
Especially if the car simply shut right off without sputtering or anything, my first thought is that's an ignition problem. Because if it was fuel related, the car would sputter and you would feel it hesitating and like as it's losing the fuel pressure. But for an electronic issue, the ignition, once you lose that spark, the car just shuts right off. And if it's just a loose ground, it can be quite easily started right back up, because maybe that wire will just simply move back to a good spot again for a second.
Yeah, because the car wasn't moving when I started it back up.
Yep.
So with that.
Yeah, that's the first place I'd be looking. And if the ground wires and all that are good, then it's going to be that module.
Okay. That lady who called about the batteries, back in the day, remember you used to glue a penny to the battery and get all the junk off?
Yeah. Well, that one to me, that was right along with that old wives' tale of don't put a battery on a concrete floor because it'll discharge the battery. And I'm still trying to figure out how the electricity goes through the plastic case of that battery. Never figured that one out.
Yes, I know. Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a safe and good weekend. Stay well and stay happy.
All right,
got it,
Roadrunner Steve. Maybe
Bye-bye.
it's
Thanks, Steve.
maybe it's the magnetic field around the battery. I don't know.
Rick, where did the buzz box
Oh,
nickname come from?
I know all about the buzz box
Oh,
that-
you do?
because I
mean-
looked it up.
Oh, you did.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a tool, right? It's used to set the timing. It's a magneto ignition systems, right? It
It's-
buzzes if it's ready to run by you connecting it, and I don't know. It's a very old.
I was doing the
part-
same
part
thing you
of where
were
they
doing.
got
It's
the
an
name.
ignition control, CDI.
Something like that.
And it just goes on and on. But BuzzBox,
But Rick will probably tell us what it really is.
Well, the term got to be used generically, basically to mean when you took a car with an old manual distributor that had the rotor and a separate coil, and when you switch that over to a car that has electronic ignition, then they call it a buzz box because it's electronic instead of the old mechanical.
Oh, okay. It's actually the part.
Right.
Oh, it's not just this tool because I keep on seeing this.
It's just a generic term that the old car nuts like me would use that to mean a car that had electronic ignition swapped in for the old mechanical.
Oh, okay.
Did you look it up on ChatGPT?
Well, actually, it was Google AI.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
It was AI though.
What's Google? I don't even.
Google has AI, so
You're joking about that, but let me tell you something. And Nancy is with me on this. Our lives, the three people now live in our home. Nancy, Earl, and ChatGPT.
you better give it a better name.
And I can't tell
Now,
you.
wait a minute. What about all your other women
Well,
that
that's
are in the
another
house?
story. We have both of us have been having some medical issues, and I know a lot of people have medical issues today. Let me tell you something. We have had such great luck. For people who've never heard of it, I just feel sorry for you. If you've heard of it and you haven't gotten around to sign up, sign up. If you haven't signed up because if you want the latest edition, pay for it. It's going to cost you a monthly charge. But it is absolutely the most accurate source of information in my 84 years on this earth. Suddenly I am Methuselah. I am the wisest man on earth because you ask me anything and I go to ChatGPT. The key is to phrase your question properly. And you have to, the only thing you have to be smart about is you have to know how to ask the question. And you will get some of the most incredibly amazing answers. So I'm talking ourselves out of business here. Rick, Stu, Nancy, me, we're all stupid compared to ChatGPT.
Well, there's something really interesting. I don't know if this will creep people out or make people want to get it, but the latest version has a conversational mode where you can speak to it, and it's incredibly natural. You can interrupt it. You can also give it different voices, just like your phone. So if you can, your Siri. But we could conceivably set the microphones up here, and you would ask questions. And matter of fact, we might want to do a show like that for just a few minutes, just for the heck of it.
Yeah.
It will speak to the callers. I'm telling you, it will work. Me and my brother Josh just set up had my computer and his, and I asked a question, and they started talking to each other. We just sat there and listened to this conversation between his chat and mine, and it was.
It's an amazing
it was
time.
new. It was really revolutionary feeling. It felt like
and
something.
the other
had
thing
happened.
about, I know we're way off subject here, but you're talking about my favorite topic, ChatGPT. And I accidentally stumbled onto, I went on their latest one, which is they keep
1.0. It's a super logical one.
Yeah. So So if you ask them a complex question, their research, even at quantum speed,
Takes a while.
it takes a while. So you'll ask them a very complicated question, and then you start looking, and it says, "I must consult my references," and it goes reference 1. And it goes reference 2.
Right.
Of course, they're reading an entire book in maybe 3 seconds.
Right, and then they're going applying logic, doing it explains what it's doing.
And maybe 10 minutes later, they'll have 35 sources, and then they will summarize it for you
That's
in a relatively short time. And then it keeps asking you, how about a little more information on this? How about a little that?
deep research. They're calling it deep research.
Yeah.
And so
Anyway.
they've been able to do actually some real quick off the topic, but there was really interesting. I was watching some, I think it was a show or something like that. It was the Daily Show or something. They do a lot of like research on they said, or no, I'm sorry, it was a different show. It doesn't matter. But basically, it accomplished what their staff does over the whole week before the show in a minute. And it really upset the staff because they said, well, you're not doing this now, but this is unavoidable. Unavoidable. It's going to be doing that.
Have fun with it, folks. It's very exciting. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. And to what you said about the voice and, asking her, something, it was very telling. I felt like as if that she was right in the house with me, and she wouldn't stop talking. She just went on, and I was trying to deactivate, what I had activated. But everything that she said was so accurate. It was just amazing.
Well, Nancy and I will, as husband and wife we'll have a disagreement. So rather than fight now or argue,
well, that's when we call the
say,
police.
okay,
You bring the
We don't
we
use
agree to
ChatGPT.
disagree. Let's ask, and then whoever's saying that will fill in
We let them settle it.
ChatGPT. So we let ChatGPT settle our arguments.
That's great. That's fantastic. Are you guys ready to get? And these were all featured at a lot of conferences late last year and early this year. These agents, the robots, the physical things are going to be mass produced in China this year, and they're already for sale. You guys can order. You have to train. It doesn't know how to do anything. He gets there and it learns to walk and all that. $16,000. You can get one right now. It's from Unitree, and if you watch a video, I guarantee you're going to buy one. I don't want one in my house because it looks like a little silver monkey that walks around and can do anything. It can do karate. It can do backflips. You can train it to load and unload the dishwasher. I watched a video of them doing it. It doesn't come knowing how to do it. It watches you as you do it, and then you show it. You teach it. And so this is happening now.
This is how Terminator started.
It is exactly how it is. But that's why they're making them 4 feet tall and not 6.5 feet tall.
So that can be ordered right now?
Yeah.
I've been reading about
it's
the
my
robots.
fault. I started this. It's like a bagel conversation.
Down the rabbit
now
hole.
we got to get back to Earl and cars.
Down the rabbit hole.
Earl on robots.
Okay. Hey, listen, I'm the only alpha dog at home. Anyway, we're going to go to Marty, and Marty is a regular caller. So glad to hear from you, Marty. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, Marty.
Glad you're feeling better.
Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, I am. We are.
My question is this. Is the government, once they start these tariffs, is the government going to put a sticker on a car so you know whether there was a tariff paid on this one or this one has been in the lot? Because there's some car dealers that are not honest.
That's a very good point.
I don't think they will. No. I think it would be too complex to figure out. But again, it's very beneficial to you, the consumer, to know. And that's matter of fact, that's a very, very good question, because when you go into a car dealership, you'll find some cars have the tariffs included in the price. Some cars don't have a tariff. Some cars will have a tariff, but they don't currently have a tariff. And this whole tariff thing, first of all, we don't know whether they're actually going to be implemented or not. And if they are implemented, we don't know whether they will be retracted. Our whole auto industry, retail and manufacturing, is in a state of flux. The manufacturers are confused, the dealers are confused, the consumers are confused, and every day you tune in to the news to find out what President Trump or his administration, who he's talked to, the Prime Minister of Canada, and what they're talking about. So it's throwing the entire automotive industry into a near panic situation.
Chaos, right?
Yeah, it's
they
a
don't
real
know.
frenzy.
They right now, we were talking to our Toyota rep, about like the impacts. Like you're not going to see anything probably on Toyotas for a little while, but it depends on if they last. It depends on how long it goes on. Domestic manufacturers, you're not going to see it reflected in the MSRP. They're probably not going to change the invoices to the dealers, but they will drop the big incentives that they have right now. Some of them have thousands and thousands of dollars, so they drop those. That effectively raises the price overnight. And so that it might look like that. Then if it does continue, because they say they're going to be permanent, and a year from now, I don't know. Maybe they will label minority labels, or who knows. But here's what can happen. And our rep doesn't believe it's going to come with shortages, because when we had the shortages in 21, 22, the entire supply chain affected everybody. So this one affects everybody differently. Some have more. I'm looking at an Emeroni label for a Maserati. They're going to have a problem. Only 1% North American content. So, but the effect on pricing, like you said, dealers might take advantage of this if there is a slowdown. Using the excuse of the inflationary effect of the tariffs, we saw what happened when other inflationary pressures did on prices, and dealers just went all the way to the top and took advantage of it. So, yeah, I think every time we go into new uncharted territory, dealers are very creative, and who knows what they're going to do, how they're going to handle it.
Yeah, and for the consumer, Marty, there's a whole lot of uncertainty out there right now, but things are going to get better, and there's so much information, on ChatGPT about these tariffs, who they will affect. I'm talking about anything from parts, car. Anything and everything. So it's really pays to take a look at ChatGPT and see what's ahead.
If you look at, there's no way to look on the MSRP label, is there,
No.
that tells you when the dealer got that car?
It does tell the dealer which dealer got it. It doesn't have a date on it.
Doesn't have a date.
Yeah,
Okay.
Marty, the tariffs are if parts from a car, if the car's assembled in the United States, but they got parts from Mexico, then it's subject to tariffs. The biggest effect will be from Mexico and Canada. You'd be surprised. In our dealership, we don't even think about it. We haven't, but we get a lot of cars that are manufactured in Mexico and Canada. We never thought of Mexico and Canada as being
foreign.
imported. We think
North America.
When I first heard about tariffs, I'm saying, hey, we're really lucky. We're a Toyota dealership. Years and years ago, we used to get a lot of cars from Japan. Now we don't get any cars from Japan.
Many.
In fact, we export cars from the USA to Japan. So we're not really worried. Well, I forgot about Canada, and I forgot about Mexico. And I forgot about the part that a lot of people that are furnishing parts to American manufactured Toyotas are manufacturing them in Mexico and Canada. So
They're going back and forth. So,
Yeah.
like, for example, like the RAV4s, they assemble them in Ontario, Canada, but components are going across the border into the United States where it's worked on, and it goes back a few times.
A whole lot to what
Yeah.
you said about the stamping and component
Exactly.
plants. And you're looking at Buffalo, you're looking at Chicago.
Right.
There are so many, avenues to explore that it, like I said, it's just worth going to ChatGPT to clear up some confusion.
Yeah, now my car was made entirely in Japan, the Crown.
Yep. And like the
very
Priuses.
unusual. Yeah.
Yeah, Priuses. Some Corollas are. So there's some. We have various that come around, but the main core Toyota vehicles are are majorly produced in North America.
Now, when we were a young dealership, when we were first began selling Toyotas,
50 years
the cars
ago.
the cars that were built in Japan were far better than the ones that were built in America.
And customers knew it. They requested Japan-built cars.
Our customers say, "Is this a Japan car?"
Right.
And they wanted to buy the Japan
Right.
car. Now
Now it doesn't
you
matter.
can't tell the difference.
Hey, Earl, quick note from Donovan here. He says, Earl, the biggest effect is from Europe, Japan, and Korea. Parts from Mexico or Canada, if they are USMCA compliant, they are not subject to the 25% tariff.
Not true.
What's USMCA?
That's the
I
old
do
NAFTA.
not know what USMCA
It's the
is.
old NAFTA. NAFTA was changed in the last Trump administration to the United States, Mexico, Canada agreement, and that's not true. The orders on the tariffs supersede. They're just saying NAFTA or USMC doesn't matter anymore.
Really? Okay.
It's a full-on trade war. It's completely. It's not going. It's not going by. If that was the case, no Toyotas would be affected. Nothing built in Canada or Mexico would be affected because that's all part of that free trade zone. So I don't think Donovan's correct there.
That'll be the first time he hasn't been correct. So
Yeah. That's a rarity, a day in
not
history.
saying-
huh?
Well, if
Very
he's
rare.
correct, then Toyota right now, my rep, we wouldn't have that conversation about what are we going to do over the next few months because Toyotas that are any vehicle that's built in Mexico, they're all protected in this free trade zone. That's NAFTA, or I'm sorry, it was changed 6 years ago to USMC.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see what it does. If that happens, it's going to see how it affects all these dealerships and their sales.
Right. That's not to say the president won't turn around tomorrow and say, well, NAFTA, people are the part of North America. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But as it stands, it's a permanent 25% tariff on all imported vehicles that are not manufactured.
My theory on this, just for what it's worth, this is just my theory on this, is that Trump will continue along this line until he's convinced.
He needs a headline.
Until he's convinced that he is doing serious damage to the economy, and I think from the get-go, he's planned on negotiating. That's what he is. He's a negotiator. He's a wheeler dealer. He's the best at doing this of anybody, and so when he has the auto manufacturers and dealers on their knees and the consumers extremely angry, he'll cut deals with the manufacturers and take the tariffs off. I think he's got people worried enough now that he is crazy, that he won't go through with this, and he'll make some backroom deals, and lo and behold, the United States will be better off, the consumer will be better off, and we'll be back to normal. That's my optimistic, hopeful thinking.
Yes.
But right now, if he proceeds the way he is, we're talking a disaster to the automotive industry.
And at the end of
And
the day,
economy.
President Trump will say something today, and tomorrow he may say the complete opposite. So you got to keep all that in mind.
That makes it hard to
Don't forget,
digest, yeah.
don't forget, a lot of his friends have a lot of stock. And when they see the Dow tumbling 700 points,
Exactly.
Was that amazing? Wow.
they tell him, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
One of the friends that tells him what to do is Elon
Elon
Musk.
Musk.
Right. He lost a few billion already in Tesla stock.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, it's not enough.
Okay, well, thanks
Very
very
true.
much.
All right. All
Okay,
right.
Marty.
Have a good weekend, and glad you're both back.
And thank you, Marty. Hey, Marty, stay in touch with me like you have, because I'm waiting for one of those gifts to arrive, either in your doorstep or someone else.
Yeah, didn't get it yet, so.
Okay,
probably
you're my
takes a while.
closest connection. Thank
Okay.
you. All right,
All
Marty.
right, Nancy. Okay, have a good weekend.
Have a-
Bye-bye.
Thank you. You do the same. Our number here is 877-960-9960. You can text us at 772-497-6530. We are going to stay with the phones, and boy, I'll tell you, we got the guys calling us this morning. We are going to go to, let me see who we have here. We're going to go to Jim. Jim's calling us from Michigan. Welcome, Jim.
Hi, this is actually Ken from Michigan.
Jeff?
I'm the guy with the Ken, K-E-N.
Oh, great. Okay,
I'm
Jeff.
I'm close. I'm the guy with the Prius
yeah.
that.
Built in Canada.
Let me see. Yes, the Prius that doesn't convert to kilometers in Canada.
Yeah.
Let me see if this.
I remember
Let me see
now.
if this is better. Yes, but I'm at 144,000 miles now, and my dealer recommends that I do an engine inverter coolant change. How do they test for the quality of the coolant, or do they just do it on miles?
How many miles were on that?
144,000.
Does that sound normal?
Yep.
You
Toyota factory recommended maintenance calls for the coolant replacement at 150,000 miles, and then every 50,000 after that. And they're simply they're actually playing it right, because they're being honest with you. They are following the Toyota factory recommended maintenance, which most dealers are going to try to sell you this service at like 50,000 or 100,000. They're going to try to sell it early and super often because they make a lot of money on it, and it's a very easy thing to do. There's a machine that they simply hook up to your car, and it actually pulls a vacuum and siphons as much of the coolant as they can get out of there, and then it refills your car back up with coolant, and they charge a fortune for it. And yeah, it's a pricey thing, but at 150, that's the correct time to do it.
Let me ask this,
yeah,
Rick. Excuse me. Can't you? I mean, all cars aren't created equal, and all drivers aren't driving the cars the same. Can't you take a sample of the coolant and analyze it as to whether it really needs to be replaced?
You could, but I wouldn't even know where to send it to have it analyzed.
Okay.
We, as mechanics, that's a tool that even I didn't have, and
I know
trust me,
something
I
else.
bought a lot of tools for
I thought
over
you
my
just
career.
I thought you just tasted it.
Yeah.
I'll leave that one for you, Stu,
All right, give me a call when you need me.
because unfortunately, it tastes really good. It's not coolant is sweet.
That's right.
And that's the most dangerous
Oh,
part
it's right.
about it.
Glycol something or other that
Yep.
kills you. Yeah. All right.
Well,
I
that's
won't- no,
that's
I
why
won't.
what you don't want to do is have it spilled on the ground,
Right, 'cause kitty
because
cats.
dogs or cats
Yeah.
will drink it because it's
Yeah.
sweet, and then it kills them.
I don't keep
You've
that
got a
stuff at home.
talent
Right.
there, Stu, for special effects. There's a
I
job
had
out
one-
there for you.
I had one more
Tasting
question
ice
on
cream.
brakes,
Sure.
and that is on. They wanted to replace the brake pads. Makes sense. It's down to 30 seconds. But they also said that they should replace the rotors instead of just turning them without even looking at the brakes. Then they also added an anti-squeal kit.
When you buy Toyota brake pads, they come with the new backing plate, which is actually what the anti-squeal is. And then quite often as a mechanic, we use a little bit of, it's called disc brake grease. It's actually made by Toyota. And I'll put a little bit on the ears of the pad where it rides in the pad holder. And I'll put some on that backing plate where the caliper is actually going to be touching the pad. And what this does is it reduces the chance of harmonic vibration that can make that squealing noise when you're stepping on the brakes. Now, for the rotors should be measured just with a simple micrometer to determine its thickness. And let me ask you this. If you're driving at highway speeds, say you're doing 50, 60 miles an hour, and you have to step on the brake kind of aggressively, do you feel any sort of a vibration?
No, none at all.
Then your rotors are probably not warped, and if they measure them and the rotors are a safe thickness still, then yes, they can be turned. Otherwise, if the rotor is too thin to be safely turned, it's been worn down, then they're going to say no, but they should measure them first. And I would say, what are the measurements on those rotors, and what is the minimum thickness, and find that out that way.
Okay, because on they have rotors at 197 and a shim kit at 6470 and anti-squeal kit at 3995. I didn't know Toyota has a separate kit.
No,
for anti-squeal.
the brake pads should come with the shims already with them, the new shims.
Okay.
And I'd be asking them, why don't these pads have the new shims already with them? Because Toyota factory brake pads, the shims come with them.
That's what I thought. Okay, well, that's it for now. Thank you so much for your help.
Hey, Jeff, hang on the line for a second. I just checked with our expert friend on replacing coolant, Dr. ChatGPT. And he says that you can buy a coolant tester, hydrometer, or test strips available at auto parts stores. A coolant hydrometer measures the freeze boil protection level. Test strips can check the pH, and corrosion protection, telling you if the chemicals properties are still good. And of course, you can do your own visual inspection, which Rick has often said on the show. Fresh coolant is usually bright green, orange, pink, or yellow, depending on the type. If it looks rusty, brown, or cloudy, or has debris, it probably needs replaced. But I knew that, but I didn't know about the test strips or the hydrometer, so that might save you an expensive coolant replacement.
And your Toyota factory coolant is going to be pink for that car.
Correct. And they always top it off when you do an oil change anyhow.
Oh, yes.
If it's low, so it gets somewhat replenished.
Yeah, it's small amounts.
Correct.
Thank you, Jeff.
Oh, okay, well then I am all set for now.
Great.
Heading down to the dealer in Dundee, Michigan. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. We're going to go to John in West Palm Beach. Good morning, John. Welcome. Sorry for the hold. What can we do for you this morning?
Yo, John, you out there?
Okay, great. I've got not a question, but I don't even know how to phrase it. I've driven a bunch of cars, and I've got a feeling that engineers have ignored the inside interior. Well, here's what I'm trying to say. In today's modern car, in the last 10 years, if you put the windows down, it's hard to hear the radio. I have to put the windows up to listen to the radio, and I like driving with the windows down sometimes, not always using air conditioning. I remember, though, in the 60s and 70s, driving, you could put the windows down, still hear the radio. Is this something that they've given up on because every car has air conditioning now, that they don't bother engineering the interior cabin to be able to hear the radio with the windows down? And what else have they done away with as far as engineering a car for conveniences that have gone away?
Well, do you remember those little triangle wing windows on the front doors?
The little triangle windows for the vent for cigarette
Yep.
smokers?
Those are awesome.
Yeah.
Well, they also, you turn them around backwards, they blow it on you.
You open that thing up and aim it just right, and it would suck air right into the car to help keep you cool without having to have the windows down.
And John, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but it might be because you can't hear because you're older and your hearing isn't as good as it was 25 or 30 years ago. I'm half deaf. In fact, I wear hearing aids, and none of us like to admit we're losing any of our senses, but
Even me.
Yeah.
Even young me. But I thought like the audio systems have an adaptive thing. Like when you lower it, it raises up when the window's
Some do. Solera actually was one of the first ones to have that on the convertible.
Yeah.
When you lowered the top, it would raise the volume of the radio. But even Donovan says to the caller, it's your hearing, it's not the car.
Well, here, this is something. This is a valid point. Now, none of us like to say we don't do anything as well as we did when we were younger. But the fact of the matter is, take it from this 84-year-old guy, that ain't true. So, at our dealership, one of my favorite, I don't know if it's favorite or my chronic problems, is a customer will bring their car in for service to our Toyota dealership, and we always advise them to test drive it with a technician or with the service advisor, and the service advisor will come back and says, there's no the noise you described is not happening. I don't hear that noise, and then they call me up and complain, and the first thing I think is, why didn't you take the technician with you? Or which technician did you take with you? Anytime you have something like a smell, or our smell is affected as we age, our taste, our hearing, our eyesight. So get some good eyes, good ears, good nose to double and verify your complaint. And don't accept somebody that just took a test drive in your car and said your car is fine. That'll drive you crazy.
Yeah, and on your radio equalizer in your vehicle, you can really play with that, and you can tweak it up or tweak it down, and you can go mid-range, and things work, or you can hear, a lot better. And with the windows down, do you always want to, blame it on the fact that you can't hear? How about the wind? It just drowns everything out. So take a look at the, tweaking of the equalizer in your car radio.
Well, it's the wind noise. It's causing all of that.
Yeah.
And I just don't think the design is there anymore for people to be able to listen to the radios with the window down.
Well,
you have to turn the radio all the way up. And,
Yeah, I'd really try that feature that you can boost the mid-range as far as the speech clarity. Also the treble, you can also tweak that, and that is definitely going to make a difference. I've tried it.
And it's not going to make you any happier to hear this, but with technology, a lot of people now are streaming. They're streaming via Bluetooth into their either their hearing aids, like Nancy and I do, or their hearing. What do you call the iPhone?
The AirPods.
AirPods.
You shouldn't do that in your car.
Next time you're walking down the street, count the number of young people that have a little white thing sticking in their ears.
Yeah,
And when they get in the car, they don't care whether the windows are up or down. They're streaming directly into their AirPods.
Yeah, I forgot, because AirPods you can put on transparency mode where you can hear outside noises too.
However, it is illegal to wear any sort of earbuds or
in the car.
headphones while you're driving the car.
Yeah, just try and explain that to the cop, though. I could hear. I heard you put the siren on, man.
Hey, Rick, aren't most vehicles equipped to adjust, all of the features that I just talked about?
Well, yeah, most radios do have equalizers. You can go in and adjust them, and other than that, you just got to turn the volume up.
Look out.
The Tesla here says immersive sound, and you got a little bar there that you can scroll for that stuff. But you still put the windows down; it's hard to hear. And
it also helps.
I see the audio settings, and they're all there. You got the sub bass, the bass, the mid, and the treble.
Exactly.
But I just put it on auto.
Yeah.
So next time,
there you go, and direct that speaker towards you.
Direct what speaker towards me?
The speakers that are inside your interior, provide you with, whether you're listening to a talk show, music, whatever. Make sense?
Nope, I just put it in the center, and so that I have sound coming out from the back seat and the front seat. I balance it out so it's in the middle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, and the speed compensated volume, if it's available for you, that's also a great feature.
Right.
Okay, well, I hope we've answered your questions, and we hope to hear from you soon.
Very good. Yeah, next week.
There you go. Have a great weekend, John. Okay, we're going to go to Mark. Mark is calling us, I believe, from Attica, New York. Is that correct, Mark?
Ithaca.
Ithaca? Okay.
Hey.
Attica's a prison.
So,
right. You only have a few minutes, we understand.
I wanted to comment on AAA. Before I retired, I ran a 10-bay shop that was AAA certified auto repair, which means you have to have a 95% approval rating, you have to have an ASE Master Tech on staff. You have to have a ASE certified service advisor and all the equipment. And so if you call AAA, we're in a touristy area. A lot of people from out of town, they would direct you to a AAA approved shop, which I wasn't the only one. There's several around. But you would call them, and then people don't realize that the tow operators are all independent. Maybe a large city might have their own AAA fleet, but on most places in the country, it's an independent tow company. So we're having a problem where people would call and say, my car is broken down, and then they'd never show up.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that the tow operator would tell them, oh, the AAA place is too expensive. You should go to this local shop. And they would divert you to some shyster local shop that would then give them a $20 payoff to bring the cars in that way. So you have to be careful when you're out of town that you go to a AAA approved or the dealer if you don't have a trusted local repair place. So the lady with the battery problem might be having a problem with the tow company.
Yeah.
And each AAA region has their own office, independent office.
Exactly.
And there's a guy there that's going to be the repair shop and tow company supervisor. So what she needs to do is call the AAA, not the 800 number, get the number for the local AAA office and get a hold of that guy.
Yes.
And maybe have him meet you at a AAA-approved auto repair shop where they can test the battery, and then he can make a determination. And that guy's got a lot of power.
Yeah, he does.
Because he can tell those tow guys, hey, you're not doing the right job. I'm going to pull your AAA approval.
That's very good advice. I used to be a director of the AAA, and I was very much involved with it. And you have to go up the hierarchy sometimes to get someone that will. Their weak link is just what you described. These guys that have got the gas station that they got signed up for AAA. One of the things that I used to love about AAA, and I'm not involved with them anymore. I keep talking about it, but I haven't done it. Maybe your conversation will get me inspired to do it. But they offer their dealers, if you're a AAA approved dealer, a third party to arbitrate disagreements between a customer and the dealer. And sometimes I'll have a customer that is just not satisfied with what we told them about his car. And one way to convince them, especially if they're AAA members, I say, would you agree to the decision made by the American Automobile Association? They have they have a representative that'll come out and inspect your car and give you a AAA opinion as to whether Earl Stewart Toyota is giving you the right advice. And they always say yes. And, if we're right, we're right. If we're not right, then we do what the AAA tells us to do. But that's AAA is a good outfit, but as you say, their weak link is the guy that comes out to jumpstart your car or let you in the car when you lock yourself out. This guy might need to be replaced, and the only way to have that happen is to call up the line to the regional office.
Yeah, I think one thing to remember is that tow truck operators are not technicians. That's why they're tow truck operators. That guy may even be getting paid a spiff to sell you that battery.
Right. That's right.
And the last thing I have is in the Northeast here, when the air conditioning was just way too expensive to repair, I'd tell the customers they still had 440 air conditioning. They'd say, "What's that?" I'd say, 4 windows down and 40 miles an hour. You can cool right off. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Great
You're
call.
welcome,
Thank you
Mark.
very much.
Give us a call again. We're going to go to Frank, who's been holding from Jupiter Farms. Good morning, Mark. Or Frank. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning. Hey, hi.
Hi.
Couple quick things. One, I'm glad to hear you guys back live on the air.
Thank you.
I also noticed that you were cooking some very nice breakfasts for Earl. I sent you a couple pictures. We just got back from a 2-week cruise on Oceania, and they had a restaurant called the Aquamar, very healthy. In the morning, they had like farmer's toast with avocado.
Oh, yeah.
And you can have a soft-boiled egg, and this was the most unusual thing I ever saw. This egg comes out completely whole, but no shell, and you figure, oh, it must be hard-boiled, so you put your fork into it, and out comes the liquid. I don't know how they cook it that way and get the shell off without breaking it, but that's obviously a chef. But then they put in turmeric in the juices and other. It was a very, very healthy part of that ship. And I saw you doing about the same thing for Earl, and I thought, well, congratulations, you're like on the Oceania ship. But with that, that's from that. And so, again, with the new car, I believe I told you a month ago, I treated myself to a Lexus EX 350 down at Palm Beach, Lexus dealer. And surprisingly, in the mail when I came home from the cruise, it said in the title for the car, because we paid for it, we wrote them a check. I thought everything was still electronic. Is that something that's is kind of new, that we actually get the written title now? Or I know if you're financing the car, of course, Toyota will be holding on.
You can copy some titles, but it's still held electronically in DMV computers.
Oh, okay. I go, the way I lose things, I go, great, here goes a title now.
I remember when it came out, it seemed weird to me now, but like here we are. I think they've been doing this for like 20 years, and like now everything is digital. Like I don't think I ever see any paper with regard to anything financial for me anymore. I mean, I get them in the mail, but everything's handled on computer, and trust it now until it all comes crashing down.
I think I got a paper title to my
to Tesla.
Yeah.
Huh? Maybe it's an additional thing, but they're still stored electronically. It's no longer. I mean, maybe it's an automatic paper title now. I wasn't aware if that was the case. So.
Yeah, I got a paper title to my Cybertruck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. One other thing about the batteries, when that lady was talking about the batteries, Costco also sells batteries. I believe they're pretty good batteries, and they'll do the installation all, of course. So
everything at Costco is good.
Yeah, Frank, I've used that, buying batteries at Costco, and I never had a problem.
Yeah, and we also, way back, I had the AAA truck come out, because I have AAA now for about 55 years. I mean, it's incredible why I keep renewing it, but I do. Mm-hmm. And they came with their little battery truck, and the battery, and needed a battery in the Cadillac underneath the back seat, and they did all that, and it worked out nice, and the price was not too far from either Costco or a Sam's Club price, so they're pretty fair all in all.
Absolutely. Keeping that AAA in your back pocket is very helpful.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's about it. I'm glad to hear you guys back on the air, and the cooking that you do for Earl is fantastic, so obviously that's why he's so healthy.
She's the world's greatest cook, I'll tell you. I'm looking forward to it.
By the way, Frank, if you boil the eggs for about 13 minutes, they'll come out soft-boiled, where the yolk will still be pretty liquid inside.
13 minutes?
12 to 13 minutes. Boil them for about 15 to 16. You'll have a perfect hard-boiled egg. But when you bring them out of the hot water, put them into a bowl with ice water and let them sit in the ice water for 5 minutes, and the shell peels right off of them.
Depends on the altitude.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
But we're in Florida, so we have no altitude.
I love hearing the guys talk about cooking. It's very refreshing. Thanks.
And one
thanks for sharing your story, Frank.
Yeah. Did you guys ever get to St. Bart's with your yacht?
St. Bart's? Oh, I did.
Yeah,
I made it to St. Bart's. Earl hasn't. I don't think he ever took your boat there. I went there on a cruise. Last week.
Yeah, it's a fabulous, fabulous island. We just absolutely fell in love with that island.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Anyway. Yeah.
A lot of big boats anchored up there.
Yeah, it is really beautiful. We've been there with the 20 group. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. Okay, well, you have a good day. I didn't mean to take up too much time.
Thanks, Frank. Always nice hearing from you. We're going to go to Howard, who is a regular caller, and thank you so much for holding. Good morning, Howard.
Good morning. I have a couple of questions. Let me start by saying, when you boil the eggs, please put some salt in the water. That helps.
Okay.
Now, you are a cook, Howard.
That, right? Absolutely, yeah.
A little bit of vinegar also. It helps prevent the eggs from cracking.
Look at, I think we got some competition here.
Oh, that's great.
We're going to turn this into the cooking show.
That's right. Okay. What about olive? Oh, no, I won't talk about olive. Okay, now spark plugs. When should spark plugs be changed on my Camry?
90,000 miles.
What year's your Camry?
2017.
You're in the cusp. But I want to say that the 2017 should be 120,000 miles on those. They're iridium plugs, so they are a little more expensive.
Oh, yeah.
And the issue you're going to have is you can pull that plug out and look at it, and it'll look perfect. But if it's got 120,000 on it, it's time to change it. And
okay, so 120,000. Okay,
yeah.
I got that.
And
Doesn't
I
matter
always
what
go.
kind of driving you do. If you go high speed driving or you don't go high speed driving, does that affect the spark plug?
Not really. Actually, getting your car out on the highway every so often and just letting it run on a good 30, 40-mile drive on the highway actually helps clean things out because you get enough heat buildup that any carbon deposits will be broken loose and burned through the engine. So it's actually a good idea, once every couple of weeks, get out on the highway and just 30, 40-mile drive just to give her some exercise, really.
Okay, now battery terminals. I used to unhook the battery, clean out the battery terminals, and put a little round ring. One was green and one was red, and hook the batteries up again. What happened to those little rings those felt rings they sell?
They're pretty useless. They don't really do anything. The best thing you can do for your battery is either get a can of battery terminal protector spray, or even just some plain old axle grease, or in a pinch, Vaseline will even work. But once
I use Vaseline.
once you clean the top of the battery really well, put some of the grease or the spray over that terminal. And what that does is it prevents the oxygen in the air from getting to the terminal and helps prevent that corrosion from building up.
So in other words, you don't have to remove the terminals.
No.
Okay.
Plain old water and a toothbrush, an old toothbrush, get right in there and scrub it clean. Lots of water to rinse it off. Let it dry for a little while. Put some protector on it,
Or you can
and
use
it's fine.
You can use your wife's toothbrush. Just don't tell her.
Okay.
Earl, I know what you did last week.
Okay, my last question, not a question, but to lubricate the channels of your window going up and down, what I do is I spray WD-40 on the channels where the window goes up and down, and I bring the windows up and down, and that seems to help. Am I doing something wrong, or is that good?
No, WD-40 is pretty safe. One of the things that we found years ago was a lot of techs would use silicone spray. And if you got a little too aggressive and got too much in there, that silicone spray would actually mess up the electric window motor. But WD-40 uses a different chemical. It doesn't use silicone in it, so it's pretty safe to use there.
Oh, okay, no silicone. That's
Yeah,
good to
avoid
know.
silicone sprays on that part.
Okay, thank you. Very good. Thanks for the information. Have
My
a good
pleasure.
day.
Great hearing from you, Howard. Okay, we're going to go to, I believe, Anne Marie's
Well,
text.
Rick can get to it.
Okay.
I did have an interesting news item that I've been looking forward to mentioning on the show because it reminded me of, selling cars. Tesla in Canada, did you read about that? They've been cut off from, they have an EV credit like the United States does. And because of all the thing with the tariffs and Musk and everything like that, they ended that for Tesla. So Tesla doesn't get that in Canada. But what was really funny was the last 3 days of the eligibility, 4 Tesla dealers in Canada, direct sale dealers, reported over 8,600 new vehicle sales over that 3-day period.
What?
And yeah, to get $43 million in credits. And they have a chargeback until they investigate where they came from. I mean, what it sounds like is, I mean, I don't see the 4 dealers having 8,600 vehicles between them. So unless they were just lazy and failed to report the vehicles sold over the last 2 years.
Where did you get that?
Oh, it was the New York Times, and it's also
really?
I'm reading this in Jalopnik now, which is one of our fan favorite places.
Ah.
So Yeah, so they claim that sold 18% of the company's annual sales in the last 3 days of the period, and it would remind me of a very long time ago. You yelling on the phone to Jason, punch him, a bunch of cars that weren't necessarily. I'm talking 30 years ago, folks, almost 40 years ago.
I was evil then.
Yeah, back in the old days, a little defrauding of Mazda, I would think. What it was, but but all car dealers do that. They report cars to get incentives, and a lot of in the old days it was rife with fraud and all that, and that sounds like what's going on in Canada with these Tesla dealers, or it could have been an accounting error.
Yeah,
probably not. Anyway, all right. Let's go over to Rick. He's got the text, right?
Yeah, we've got to get to text, anonymous feedback, and we're also going to get to YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Anne-Marie's question today, she actually sent it in yesterday. I think we kind of covered it already. She said, "Good morning. I'm confused about the tariffs imposed on cars and car parts. Can you explain how they're supposed to work? And will dealers just increase the price of all cars 25% to simplify things?" But last week she sent in one that I think we're going to like this one a little better. She says, "Good morning. Cars are getting more sophisticated to work on, and fewer people are capable of fixing them. How are the increasingly complex vehicles going to be repaired in the future?"
Robots.
She says, "Are the auto manufacturers going to create robots to fix the vehicles? Software updates are fine, but you still need some type of physical labor to change tires, replace cracked windshields, and fix fender benders." And she said, "What would your suggestions be on how to tackle this problem?"
Well, I mean, I'm not kidding. In the future, before this decade is out, we're going to see beginnings of automated robot agents working in fields where humans
and
are.
remember that way in the future, they're going to be total electric vehicles, which require virtually no maintenance and repair.
Yeah. And which leaves things like tire rotations, which we've been talking about in this show for many years, that hopefully they'll have tires that don't need to be changed, wear down, rotated, and all that.
And the cars will be manufactured then with the idea of the robot doing the repairs. So they'll be designed to accept robot mechanics.
Yeah, I think that's what we're looking at in the over the horizon. And in the near term, we're just going to see it bit by bit, kind of taking over roles that humans do now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what an amazing future.
The other thing about the future will be that we don't talk about is the fact that full autonomy is going to bring along using the car when you need it. We won't own cars, and you'll walk out of your grocery store, you'll walk out of your home, and a car will pull up.
You pull out your thumb, and a robot car pulls up.
And you'll get a luxury car, you'll get a cheap car, you'll get a in-between car, and you'll say, "Take me to Walgreens," and it'll drop you off at Walgreens. You get out, the car goes somewhere else. You don't know. And when you come back out, another car is going to pick you up.
Right.
However,
they're clean.
I still believe you're going to need humans as technicians, because you're going to have issues crop up in some of these cars that a computer simply is not going to be able to solve, unless it's simply
you've not been paying
pulling
attention.
the parts cannon.
You have not been paying
and
attention.
replacing everything.
You haven't been paying attention. It's not done with programming. And by the way, I don't think this is a good thing, because what are we going to do with all these people? But I'm saying a robot would watch you. It would go to the same tech schools that they have set up. They would go on the computer. They're fully capable of doing anything, and also they'll diagnose it in a fraction of a second. And I'm just saying that's how I'm watching video. This whole show I've been watching videos of robots.
Skeptical. I'm a little skeptical.
If they're going to replace surgeons and doctors, they will replace mechanics.
Yeah. It's just, I have seen some weird things happen on cars.
Robots are going to be building robots
that would. I just wonder how well robots would be able to think outside the box to diagnose and solve a problem.
They're more capable of thinking out of the box than people are, because they can just basically take the entire box, which is all the universe of knowledge, and go, "Where's the answer in this?" Which humans can't do that.
Okay, boys.
All right, let's go on to the the texts. We got more texts.
Okay.
You got more texts?
Actually,
Okay.
that was the only ones we had on the text.
Oh, perfect. Then
right
I can jump
Yep.
over to the anonymous feedback. There's been a few good ones in the last couple of days. We can't get to all of them because it goes back a little bit. But here's some. You'll like this one, Dad. As someone who works in the auto industry, you're wrong about aftermarket parts because all the aftermarket parts have DOT stickers, meaning they meet the same requirements as OEM factory parts.
I am not sure what that is, but I know that my concern with aftermarket parts are on crash parts, not on all parts on the car. So if you have a hood or a bumper or a fender, the compressibility of that can only be tested by the NHTSA or there's two agencies.
Right. I remember Alan would know.
Where you actually crash cars into
IIHS.
Yeah. So my main concern is not with the quality in terms of how good it looks or how long it'll last or anything like that.
They're not tested.
It's the safety factor. Doors, fenders, roof, all these other things have not been crash tested.
Right.
So
They're made to the specifications, but they are not tested. And you can't just go by the specifications. If that was the case, then you wouldn't have to crash test any cars.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
if you look at two cars, one that failed the test and the other one that came through with great success, you see these pictures in Consumer Reports all the time, and you would never buy that car that failed the test because you would see yourself in that seat crushed to death, and then the other car that passed the test, you wouldn't be touched at all. So aftermarket parts, when you have your car repaired and your insurance company says, I will not pay for this fender, I will not pay if it's a part that should be crash tested, then you negotiate with the insurance company or you sue them. But you should get a safety-tested crash part when you have your car repaired.
And that answers the next anonymous feedback that said, do you have a right to force the insurance company to pay for the OEM replacement parts? And Earl just mentioned right there is you get a situation with these crash parts, you should raise the issue and try to negotiate and see what they can do to accommodate you.
Sure.
But they don't have to accommodate you. So some insurance policies or companies that don't, they have some that have stipulate that they will use OEM parts. They pay more for it.
We used to litigate. I was back during my litigation days. We were suing the hell out of the insurance companies on behalf of our customers, and we rarely lost a case. Usually the insurance company would step up to the plate. They didn't want to be put in the position of publicly and legally turning one of their customers down on a factory part and then have that car involved in an accident and be sued because they wouldn't put a crash-tested part in. So if you make a big enough fuss with the insurance company, they'll take care of you.
That's right. Okay, we need to get over to our dog of the week. We got
Reading my mind.
That's
Okay,
right.
we are going to go to Big Dog Ranch, not physically, but boy, what a great job they do out there, and our dedication to Big Dog Ranch continues. They do some fantastic work, and Paco is an example. Paco comes to us from Honduras, and he certainly is enjoying the comforts of Big Dog Ranch right now, but he is looking for a forever home. So Paco is, he's not too big. He's about 39 pounds, and he's a mixed breed.
Mid-size.
And there you go, like a car.
Yeah, mid-size.
And like I said, he does come from Honduras. And the adoption fee is $100. It's reduced because of the dog that we present you with. You might want to go to the website to fill out the form to adopt a dog because they definitely do a background check. Not just everyone, gets a dog. So we're going to, you got the video, Jonathan? We're going to show you a video of Paco. So sit back and enjoy.
Hi, my name is CJ. This is Paco. I work at Big Dog Ranch here, and He's really good on the leash. He's potty trained. He's really sweet in the yard. He plays good with other dogs, and he's trying to find his forever home.
That was a quick video.
There you go.
Paco is a sweetie pie.
Yeah, definitely. Then you can go to www.bigdogranchrescue.org, and you can find other dogs on that website. And again, as I said, you can fill out the form prior to going out there. Earl, did you? Oh, I thought you were trying to get my attention.
No.
Okay, we are going to get to the mystery shopping report.
Yeah.
And it's from, my memory serves me right, from Holman Honda. And that's a Fort Lauderdale dealership. So.
And it's a repeat.
No,
it is.
It's not a repeat.
Not a repeat.
No, it's one we did when we didn't show up for the show.
Right. The thing was ready to go, and then we canceled the show. So, but it's never been read. It's brand new to everybody else.
Okay.
I'm the only one in the room has read it. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you guys read it.
Okay.
Holman Honda. That's an old family, by the way. That's automotive family. They've been around for a long, long time, and they've expanded considerably. I know since they used to be just in South Florida. Speaking in the first person, as if I were Agent Lightning, I arrived mid-afternoon, was greeted by a salesman who noticed me looking at a Civic parked on the showroom floor. And as I was looking inside, he asked me if I like stick-shift vehicles. I said, oh, no. The average person wouldn't even know what stick shift is today, I think. I said, oh, no, thank you. Is this a stick shift? He said, yes. And then asked if I was interested in the Civics. I said, yes. I had one and regret ever getting rid of it. We both laughed. He then suggested we take a walk to their lot so he could show me what they have. I followed him as we were walking to the door. I said, I didn't get your name. And he apologized and said, he's Kevin. And he had to be every bit of 7 feet tall. Amazing. I mean, that's tall. He had about 5 Civics on the lot, and I chose this one. Got a picture of the Benoni label on my mystery shopping report. That's a good sign. I noticed all the cars on the lot had the old-fashioned club locks on them and mentioned this to be to him. He replied that it's getting really bad down here, so not only do our cars have low jack, we put the club locks on them as well. It won't stop them, meaning the thieves, but it will slow them down. Oh, cute, just like these, I said. I really like the car and like to see a price on it. He said, perfect. Now, of course, I have to digress and say, I somehow don't think that the club locks or the low jack are all on the cars so that they won't steal the cars off their lot. I think they're on the cars so that the dealer can make extra profit by marking up the low jack and the club locks. But hey, what can I say? I'm being negative. How soon are you planning on buying? I said, likely this week. I keep hearing Black Friday specials being advertised on the radio. Kevin said all dealerships always have specials with pricing. He then asked me for my information and put me in their system and then excused himself, saying he'll be right back with a price. That's the old back and forth. A few minutes later, Juan, sales manager, came back with him and had the price sheet in his hand. He asked, what exactly am I trying to do today?
I'm here picking up some groceries.
Yeah, I was asking for directions to the grocery store.
And I was going to sit down and watch a movie in your lounge.
I said, well, if the price is right, I'll buy a car. He started saying something about they have a protection package. We all have heard of those protection packages.
We should call them protection rackets.
Right. And just like if you go to McDonald's, they offer you fries. This is their upscale. I like that. That's funny. I said, well, I'm down this way, and being upfront with you, I was planning on stopping at a few places on the way back up north. Dealerships, he says, put a little air in their prices, but I'm willing to sell you this car for a great deal today. I told him I'm being honest with him, and you and I don't want to do a lot of back and forth, so if you just give me your best price, I'd appreciate it. He said, perfect. He appreciates me being honest with him, and he'll be right back with the price. A few minutes later, he returned with this sheet, which I have shown here, which is the typical worksheet, meaning it's not a legal document, and they can basically say or do anything on the sheet. Prices, discounts, add-ons, none of it has any legality. You waive the price or the right to have a contract. It's not a contract. So they can flim-flam you a little bit, and then when you sign the real contract, that's where you're going to watch out. One asked me what I thought. I replied, I expected to be much closer to MSRP out the door, and he said, well, this is just my first try with you, being brutally honest, and we could go back and forth and see what's going to work. I said, I told you I was being upfront with you from the beginning. I wasn't looking to do a lot of back and forth, and then I was going to shop other dealerships. He replied, give me a number here, cross out this $3,700 and tell me what you want to pay. And I said, I'm not doing that. I said, just give me a good number and we'll go from there. He said, okay, I'll be right back with a better deal. A few minutes later, he came back with the sheet. Now, this little back and forth that we do on virtually every mystery shopping report is exactly why the phenomenon that's taking place with online buying, Amazon, and some other companies where you actually will be given out-the-door price without having to play games. That's the reason this was the beginning of the end of car dealerships as we know them today. But they're still here, and they're going to be around for a while, so pay close attention. I got another worksheet here, a lot of fine print. And while he was gone, Calvin said he expected him to come back with a much more aggressive price, knowing that I said I was going to shop around. But when he returned, was just a little bit less of a price, just a little bit less of a price. I looked at one and he said, okay, thank you, not interested. One replied, what do you mean? I said, even Calvin thought you were going to come back with an aggressive price. And he said, well, I still have some room to work, but I'll be back in just a few minutes. I said, I don't really feel like wasting my time. I was up front with you from the beginning and frustrated with his games. He just gave me 2 minutes, so I said, you're on the clock, to which he said with a pompous attitude, replied, start your timer then. At this point, I was very mad, and I looked at Calvin and said, I'm sorry for wasting your time, but I'm leaving. I don't need this, excuse me. I don't like that word. So
well, I didn't see the word. Josh wrote this one up.
It's
I was on a C when they were
a fanny attitude.
A fanny?
And I walked out the door. When I got to my car, there was a truck parked there, a dirty name, parked there, and said he would be happy to have another manager work with us if I would just give him a chance. I said, no, I'm not interested right now. I'm too mad. I'm leaving, and he said he understood and apologized for Juan's behavior. On the clock, he says, start a timer, running, but audacity of this short, younger, arrogant salesman blew my mind. So Agent Lightning really got irritated. And I would prefer she played the game longer, but if I had to do this every week like she does, she does get angry.
I wanted to address that.
Yeah.
Not her, reacting. Because she's in the moment. So that's what makes these good mystery shops because she is reacting naturally.
Yeah.
She came on board in 2020 with Agent Thunder. We had Agent Thunder and Agent Lightning, if anyone remembers. And then shortly, the automobile business went bonkers. And so really only in the very short period of time where she's been in this post-inventory crunch, back to normal thing, where people, they wouldn't budge. So we had an anonymous feedback suggestion, a request, was when these packages and the protection rackets and the fees appear, make that a stopping point, and like a good customer should, and fight those a little bit, negotiate with those, ask for explanations, and refuse to pay them.
I agree.
As opposed to but in fairness, over the last several years until more recently, those things weren't negotiated. It was, hey, here's the price, goodbye, because there's only 6 cars on the lot. So things are different. So yeah, we'll talk to Agent Light, and we will adjust the approach to get a little bit more dig in there with the junk fees and the add-ons.
You know, it would also be fun, and I think educational, would be because she's sophisticated and smart enough to do this. When she goes into maybe a dealership, we say, let's see how good a price you can get. Go in there and do your very best.
Right, get it down.
And see how you do it. And
we used to do that with, if you guys remember back in the old days, some of our long-time fans will remember Agent X. And he was the, not the original, but he was the original legend. And he had different personas that he would put on. One was called Larry Laydown, and that was where you accepted everything that they gave you. And the other was Brutal Brutus. He made these up, not me. Where he would he wouldn't accept anything. And we felt bad about Brutal Brutus is because they were unpleasant for the employees at the dealership we mistreated. Well, he didn't get out of hand, but he says, no, go back. That's not good enough, and he would really work them. We can adjust. We can adopt some of those.
Hopefully Agent Lightning can do that. I think she can.
Yeah.
You got to be tough to do that because no one likes in-your-face confrontation.
Right.
But you have to really get in their face.
She does it naturally. She's today. I mean, she's.
Stu.
We had to censor her mystery shopping report. She was so upset.
Oh, sounds wonderful to me. Hey, would you say that Agent Lightning is the longest-running mystery shopper?
It's hard to tell. No, I don't think so because not yet. She started in late 2020, and we've been on the show since when? 2006 or 2004 or something like that. I don't know, 2003. And we had Agent Clean Sweep. I don't know if you remember that one. And then that was the one who had brought her son with the GoPro strapped to his head. So we tried to get a video.
I remember that.
That was Agent Clean Sweep, and then we had Agent X, and there was a bunch of them that kind of worked around because you can't always get it's people have lives. So, but now Agent Lightning has been the most consistent. So, in terms of number of mystery shops, I think she's number one. I think in terms of length of time, no.
I think that for me and Agent Lightning, she shows all her true colors, and she does it very well. And she's very creative.
Well, she actually bought a car almost by mistake one time.
When she's there, I don't think the salespeople pick up whatsoever that she's not there to do anything than buy a car because she gets into it. I mean,
she's
fact
creative.
that listen, if you hired a mystery shopper from a temp agency, which we do for the dealership, they don't get angry. They don't take it personally. They're just there to collect a check. She has a vast knowledge of the car business, and she has acting skills, and she's able to just go into a mode and be completely believable. That's why she's so good.
Very well-rounded. And it was amazing going back in history when she showed up at our front door, our home.
That's right.
And the two of us just clicked.
Yeah.
And her approach was much different than any other person who had delivered from Publix.
She probably got mad at you.
And that's how we really connected. Personalities are somewhat alike.
Yeah,
she's much younger.
Hey man, she's been with us for 5 years now, so it's good.
Her record speaks for itself.
Yeah.
We're going to get to the.
We want to vote on the show.
Yeah, I'm going to
vote on them.
Remember, folks, 772-497-6530. That's where you can vote for the mystery shop.
And I am thinking about this shop, and it's worse than even down in that area. It's below average for me. It's not the worst we've seen. I would like to give them a D.
A what?
A D.
A D.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we got Jonathan in Palm Coast says, Monroney label posted? Check. Protection package? Not interested. First try? You only get one try at me, and you blew it. Automatic F. Too many games. I'll go elsewhere to find an honest dealership. And Bob says, welcome back. I know what I'm doing today as well as every Saturday, which is listening to your show and learning from you. I have some room too. I'm on a timer, and it's an F for a rude sales manager. And over here we have T Cash, who says D minus for deception. Tim Gilliland, Destination fee, pre-delivery fee, last you'll see of me, D-.
It's a haiku or something.
Mark H, C-. Why do that to a customer? Johnny Z. Fradley, D. But look on the bright side. The battery fee was only $1.50.
Hey, cup of coffee.
Well, that's actually a state fee. That is a legitimate state fee, is the battery recycling fee.
That is true.
Yeah. Mark Smith, I give the dealership a big D. No thank you for the game playing. Brian Sidlatko, Honda dealership F. Agent Lightning A. Myself, D- there. Too many games played. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not only a bad report; it's a stupid report, because when you lose your temper with a customer, you might as well fold up your tent and go home. You can't afford to get angry. So the salesperson and the manager too probably got irritated at the customer because she reacted normally to their abuse, and felt like Agent Lightning wasn't being polite.
For sure. There are too many games, as everyone will agree, and Agent Lightning, as usual, did an impeccable job, and she's very good at what she does. And as sales manager, what can I say? So for me, Fort Lauderdale, you're in that area, it's you got to wear your protective gear down there.
Kevlar.
And I'm going to give them an F.
F?
I'm not going with Stu. I'm going with a D. I'd like to give him an F just to punish him, but I'll give him a D.
Okay.
Well, and Frank in Jupiter Farms says,
F.
Mystery shopping report, F. Typical South Florida dealership.
Frank is angry.
He is.
Hey, real quick, this has nothing to do with this mystery shop in particular, but there is an exception to the sales tax on the fee rule, and I just confirmed this. I knew this, but I never bring it up, but it came up now with the battery fee. In Florida, there is a $1.50 battery disposal fee, and there's a $5 new battery fee. It's charged by the state. You have to charge it. You do collect sales tax on it. The state says,
I remember that, yeah.
So you're collecting sales tax on $6.50. So that's why we don't talk about it a lot.
Yeah, and it's because it's confusing.
Yeah, it's too much.
You can't
too many
even buy a
details.
Big Mac for that price.
Yeah, I just want to. I want to head off any anonymous feedback saying
Yeah.
we're wrong about that, because we know this. It's just not a. It's such an inconsequential amount that we don't mention it.
Yeah.
Jonathan, do we have time for me to talk about my scary event? Okay. As you know, Nancy and I drive autonomous Teslas, and Nancy's driving a Plaid, and I'm driving the Cybertruck. And about 5 days ago, as we were driving in my Cybertruck, leaving our home, and I forgot where we're going now, but there's a unusual series of roads exiting from our home area, an S curve leading onto a relatively major highway with a bridge on one side where visibility is limited and a curve on the other side.
Right.
It's a scary intersection.
I don't like it.
So when we first started driving autonomous cars, I think we probably tried using autonomous, but it didn't work in that area, so we wouldn't do it. And then as the software downloads increased and the ability of the autonomous cars increased, we began to try it. Finally, we got to the point where we would use it, and it was working okay going out. Occasionally, based on the software downloads to the autonomous, the Plaid will react one way, the Cybertruck can react the other way. And every time we get a new software download, I get all excited because I'm hoping it's a quantum leap forward.
You run out and go driving, like, that download.
Long story short, 3 days ago, and I really need to contact Tesla directly on this, because we were going around the S curve, and there was a car coming the other way on the other lane around the other end of the S curve. And suddenly, my Cybertruck went over into the other lane,
Oncoming?
head on to the motorcycle. I came within 20 feet.
At least.
Fortunately, because it was an S curve, we were going very slow. So we both stopped. And I was afraid of two things. I was afraid that I might have died and killed somebody. And then I was also afraid this guy was going to come up
would have been fine.
and whip me out of the car and
You-
beat
you
the
would
hell
have
out of me because
Did you blame it on the car?
Huh?
Did you blame it on the car?
you
Did
gotta
you
listen.
roll the window down?
You got to listen to the rest of the story.
Yeah, there was
So he got off his motorcycle, he came up, and he was smiling. And I rolled my window down. I said, I'm really sorry I tried to kill you. He says, were you on autonomous? I said, yes. He says, I have a Tesla, and I use
I
autonomous.
thought you were going to say his bike was on autonomous.
So we had a big yeehaw.
Okay,
I
that's
think
good.
about the whole thing.
Yeah, lucky there.
But the bottom line is that was scary as hell.
And let me add this to what happened. That was an unusual situation when you've got someone who's on a bike who wants to speak to you, who isn't, all of a sudden everybody turns like into an animal.
We are in a
on the
crazy
road.
time, and you don't know what people are capable of.
And in light, yes, of what we're going through right now, let me tell you what, there has been some scary moments in the Cybertruck and in the Plaid. And, there's been terrible names, middle finger, a possible attack when someone comes up to the window in the Cybertruck.
Well, absolutely no. Forget about the the autonomous issues, but just
just the presence.
They're getting vandalized and attacked all over the country now for political reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, as far as Earl talking, about autonomous and when he uses it, for me, I am just not ready to turn on autonomous when I back down my driveway. I can't do it. There's too many variables all around me, and not everyone is in tune to what you're driving and that you're driving autonomous. So you have to be respectful and take into consideration, what you're up against when you decide to use autonomous. So for me, whenever I get out on the road, open road, that's when I use autonomous. And now it's a blessing. I use automatic park.
It's amazing.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Earl.
Just amazing.
Quick note here from Donovan. He says, if you disengage autopilot in that curve, you can then have the option to send a message to Tesla, and it will send the video of the incident at the exact time.
Good.
Yeah, but you have. I'll double check on. I know that's to be the case, but you have to do it right then.
Right.
And I was in the middle of the road, and cars were behind me. Cars were behind him. And,
too many
and
decisions.
typically, when I disengage for something like that, I don't have time to send the message.
Yeah. Right. And obviously your mind isn't thinking send a message.
Donovan, if you know another way to get the message through to them, I'd love to tell them about that.
One thought I have, and I know we're running out of time, is your camera, it stored only a day's worth of stuff before that last accident. I don't know if there's a setting if you can have the overwrite to be longer, like give yourself 30 days. That way you can access the older footage and you can send that to Tesla maybe.
Let me add this to it. When you deactivate the autonomous and you hit the accelerator, be gentle because 0 to 60 and snap the passenger's neck. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we enjoyed your company. As always, you make the show. Stay tuned next week. We'll be right back here at 8 a.m. right on the Oldies channel. Have a wonderful weekend.